On January 4th, 2012, an image appeared on 4chan's b/board with a message. Hello. We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There is a message hidden in this image. Find it and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck. 3301. What many assumed was nothing more than a simple puzzle actually ended up branching into the biggest and most complex mystery that the internet had ever seen. To this day, over 13 years later, no one has figured out exactly what Cicada 3301 was. Or have they? Today, lady and man, we are taking a deep dive into the story of Cicada 3301, the story behind who created it and someone that actually made it into the inner circle of Cicada members. And buckle up, things are about to get super weird. The internet isn't exactly a stranger to mysteries, but none have ever quite shook the world the same way that Cicada 3301 has. In order to really get to the bottom of it, we need to go back, work our way up through the puzzles, and touch on the weird new developments. It's a very strange story, but I think we might actually have some answers. After the original post showed up on 4chan, it didn't take long for Cicada 3301 to become known across the internet. And with that came the solving of the first puzzle. The hidden text in the image seemed to be completely random, except for the mention of Tiburvus Clavdiv's Caesar. Instantly, people knew that it was a common cipher known as the Caesar cipher. And after decoding it, a link to an image would appear. A duck. The image of the duck appears to be a bit of a dead end, and for a while, it actually sorta was. It took some time, but eventually eagle-eyed internet super sleuths realized that the phrase, "looks like you can't guess how to get the message out," actually had two words that seemed a little bit out of place. Guess and out. I love to pretend that I'd be smart enough to solve all this on my own, but the truth is, I probably wouldn't have gotten past the first image. Stay in school, kids, or you'll end up making videos about aliens and posting them on YouTube. I'm just kidding. I love what I do. Guess and out rearranged is outguess, which might not seem like much to the regular folk, but to code breakers, outguess is a steganography tool, which is essentially used to conceal information within another message. I told you this was going to get complicated. Just wait. It gets so much worse. Putting that original code through outguess, you get a much more cryptic message. Here is the book code. To find the book and more information, go to, followed by a Reddit link and what appears to be a list of random numbers. These numbers are known as a book cipher, which essentially points to pages or paragraphs or even words and letters in a specific book. The Reddit link contained this image in the header, which is important later, as well as a title that seemed to be another code. It also included two images. Using outguess on the first image gives the text. From here on out, we will cryptographically sign all messages with this key. The second image on the subreddit looked like this, and this was actually one of the easiest clues to decipher. The image was a stereogram image, which means you need to view it at a certain angle in order to give it a 3D appearance and reveal what the image is. You can actually pause this video if you're on a phone and try and look at it from a certain angle. See if you can see it. Maybe subscribe while you're there. What? The image looked similar to a holy grail. It also contained text revealed again through outguess. The code said, "The key has always been right in front of your eyes." And this one kind of stumped the fuck out of people. But it turns out it literally was right in front of your eyes. Going back to the Reddit header image showed that it consisted of Mayan numbers. They translate to the sequence 10-2, 14-7, 19-6, 18-12, 7-8, 17-0, 19. Say that 3 times fast, I dare you. Comparing it with the title, it was found that 10 equals A, 14 equals E, etc, etc. So combining both the Mayan numbers and the title numbers, it gave us a much larger code that ended up being solved using a Vignere cipher, which eventually gives us an excerpt from Thomas Bulfinch's Mythology, a story based on the tales of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. More importantly, their hunt for the Holy Grail. By now, it was obvious that Cicada 3301 was no joke, and only the greatest minds had actually been able to get this far into the puzzle. But things were about to get a lot weirder. Taking the King Arthur excerpt from earlier and using a book cipher tool, you would be left with this. It was a phone number. You guys keeping up? Do you need a snack break? Let me check my fridge. I have, not much, actually. I've got a yogurt, if you guys want a yogurt. You guys ready? Make sure you subscribe. Okay, so the phone number is obviously no longer active, but I did manage to track down an original recording.
Very good. You have done well. There are 3 prime numbers associated with the original final .jpg image. 3301 is one of them. You will have to find the other 2. Multiply all 3 of these numbers together and add a .com on the end to find the next step. Good luck. Goodbye.
The 3 prime numbers ended up leading everyone to a website. The website had nothing more than the Cicada logo, and underneath it was a countdown. Everyone waited in anticipation for the countdown to reach 0, and when it finally did, we were left with more numbers. But this time, they weren't code. This time, they were coordinates. Cicada 3301 had gone global, spanning numerous locations across many different countries. People started to realize that Cicada was bigger than everyone initially thought. And it didn't take long at all for users to find the posters scattered across the globe. These posters had QR codes. These QR codes led to code, and this code was eventually all translated to a single link. This time, the link was a .onion link, which is only accessible using the Tor browser, also known as the dark web. Spooky. And can you guess what the dark website led to? That's right, more code. There was a lot more code breaking. Eventually, after a few more tests, Cicada posted this on their Reddit. The hunt had come to an end. People had been selected, and those who had completed the tasks too late were left with nothing. No one came out with any information about who'd passed the final test. Those who had passed stayed completely silent. Sure, there were loads of fake emails, messages, calls, people leaking fake information about making it through, claiming that Cicada was anything from a secret government organization to terrorists, and some even tried to claim that it was aliens, but none of these were believable at all. The most common theory was that it was some form of recruitment, and to this day, that's the one that people stick with when they think about Cicada. But no one really talks about the genuine, confirmed proof that someone actually made it through and into the group. Let me explain. A teenager by the name of Technolagi claimed to have made it through the initial trials and been invited to what he called the Inner Sanctum. He claimed that after the final puzzle, he was given a link, and with that link, a username and a password. Entering these led to what Technolagi says was part message board, part chat room, with private messaging. The message board consisted of different topics like a welcome section and goals and current projects of Cicada. He claims that the chat room section only had about 20 members. According to Technolagi, Cicada's goal was to further the use of cryptography so people could have privacy and become anonymous. He claimed that Cicada's main goal was to create an open source software for the benefit of mankind. Technolagi still, to this day, claims that he genuinely has no idea who Cicada are, even though he has been confirmed to have been in the Inner Sanctum and to even share messages with one of the creators. Cicada still remains as one of the biggest mysteries on the internet. And even though we have new information coming out about it all the time, it seems like none of it actually leads to anything. So many questions still remain, and someone out there has the answers. Who do you guys think are behind Cicada? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe.